The Cell and Android sagas of DBZ have gone down as two of the most well-loved arcs in the entire franchise. What any fan will immediately tell you though is that just as iconic as the fights, plot points, and transformations are, perhaps even more potent are the bag fumbles in these seasons. Ranging from yeah, that's kind of stupid to quite literally extinction level events, this video seeks to cover every questionable decision made in these sagas from top to bottom. But before we start, don't be like the Z homies and fumble your own bag. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, just like that perfect Cell vs Vegeta fight. And with that off my chest, let's begin. Starting with Trunks not telling the Z crew what the androids look like. The more I sit with this one, the more wild it becomes. Now, it has to be said that future Trunks is low-key my GOAT. Everything from the sword to the raspy voice to the drip, those who know me will let you know that I'm a bona fide future Trunks glazer. That fella is and always will be the drink, but in this part of the story, he was looking more like the sip, because I don't know what homie was cooking up with this one. This fella managed to provide the exact pinpoint coordinates of where the androids were going to drop like this was a game of Battleship, but then we somehow leave out what these fellas look like? Bruh, if I'm Yamcha, I'm the most heated, because they had this fella hemmed up making him perform an involuntary glazed donut cosplay off the back of Trunks dropping the Dragon Ball and letting them get caught lacking. Just goes to show even a GOAT has an off game every now and then. Next up, the Z homies not following Bulma's plan after Trunks' intro. After Trunks put Frieza on a shirt and finished smoking on that cold pack, he got the crew up to speed on the mission. After Bulma got done pushing up on her son and ensuring he would need an active BetterHelp subscription for the rest of his life, she made a suggestion that was hard to dispute. Trunks, if you know all this, why don't we use the Dragon Balls from our time, find Jiro's base, and murk him right now? And mans like Trunks was high-key contemplating it. He was ready to dip his toes into the Alabama bag and kiss his mom's around the lips, he was so happy. But then his height challenge trifling Pop spoke up and was talking about how his pride as a musty-ass Saiyan warrior demanded he put humanity at risk in order to adequately measure his PP now that he lost a chance at tossing Frieza's salad a second time. And then the peanut gallery started speaking up with Goku putting the final nail in the coffin, telling Bulma she agreed with their baby daddy, and the rest, as we know, lives in Botchamania history. Here we have one that gets my tidy whities in a bunch every time. Bruh, why was Goku not taking his AIDS medication the entire time this nonsense was going on? I promise you, if my nephew with an immaculate fit pulls up from the future, hands me a bottle of hepatitis medication and tells me you're gonna need this, I promise you don't gotta say nothing to me twice. This fella lets a whole year pass, lets that bottle of meds catch more cobwebs and Chi-Chi's pum-pum, only to walk into the circus and get his pelvis exploded by a calorie-positive clown. Ain't nothing worse than watching your GOAT throw the match, man. Speaking of GOATs letting me down, next up we got Piccolo letting himself get violated by Jiro. This one makes me so upset, bro. Piccolo had the game in his hands. All he had to do was powder Jiro's donut, which would have made more than light work for him at this point, and the homie Toriyama could have hung up the pen right there. But my melanin brother pick Zen of all times get caught lacking, nearly gets his cheeks busted by Jiro, then little buddy Gohan is coming to frame, save his uncle, leaving Dr. G enough time to sneak into his lair and activate the Olsen twins. It pains me to even bring this up, man, but I gotta sit here and send another side-eye Piccolo's way. Because right after this botch with Jiro, Big Green took a play out of his movie adaptations and does what he does best. Starts aura farming for clout after that merger with Kami, moonwalking on Cell and doing everything but finishing him off, only to get caught with the Hood Classic and leaving his cousin the opening he needed to scoot off. Then Cell starts playing Marco Polo with the bench of the Z Squad, eating up what's left of humanity all the while. Next up, we got everyone's favorite forehead doing nothing to help the deadbeat allegations as he ignores his son's existence in the time chamber. Bro, my booty cheeks start to get chapped every time I think of how much more progress some folks could have made in the time chamber if Vegeta would have just accepted the paternity test and helped his son get in a beast mode rather than getting on his Sigma grind set. Not only would he have buffed up his own progress, but he likely could have let Trunks know how garbage that Super Saiyan Grade 3 transformation was and prevented a whole travesty from occurring on the back end. Big shout outs to Sparking Zero that gave some time to this exact what if situation in the game, because this whole arc could have been looking wild different. But y'all already know this ain't the last time Vegeta earns a spot on the list, so we'll keep it pushing for now. And next up, we'll remain in the Room of Spirit and Time, but this time we're gonna fire some shots off from the Sun family and rap about Goku being dead wrong for not giving Gohan some type of heads up about the plan in the time chamber. I know homie was banking on the angry Gohan power buff in the Cell fight, but not to tell his son at all about the fact that he was intending to have him get busy in the ring and throwing the weight of the world on his shoulders in the final hour was, well, we all know the end of that story, and as y'all might be guessing, Goku hasn't earned his final spot on the list either. Next up, we gotta head back over to the People's Champ Vegeta letting himself get rizzed up by Cell into achieving perfection. Man, I haven't seen somebody get this level of game ran on them since them fellas bought the entirety of Manhattan for $24 back in the 1600s. We're talking trading Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle levels of hypes taking place. Had the Prince's cheeks all rosy talking about some tell me more Baka when Cell was in his bag. Had his own son ashamed to look him in the eyes afterwards. Bro, this throw in particular leaves me speechless because it was so damn unnecessary. Let's continue to ball before I spend all day on this. Actually, I lied. I'm circling back. Because a while ago, editor and big friend of the channel, Seth the Sin, pointed out that this moment is extra crazy because not only did Vegeta sell this hard, but he started boxing his own son trying to correct the mistake. No words, man. Vegeta was absolutely a walking fumble in this arc. Gonna start calling this man Baker Mayfield. Alright, now I'm done. Let's move on to the next walking L of this arc with a legendary bag fumble. Next up, in a fan favorite moment, was Krillin destroying that shutoff remote for a Chroma Robussi. Bruh, this moment will feed Krillin slander for the rest of eternity like it's a Rothschild's fortune. Now, we know in retrospect this ended up being a W, but it cannot be understated how this man was really prepared to let humanity burn off the way he got bricked up when an android kissed the top of his bald head. Can you imagine what was running through Trunks' mind when he caught a whiff of how down bad Krillin was? Bro, that garbage had to have him ready to go back in that time machine and nuke the remaining Z-Squad himself so he wouldn't even have to go through all this. The way these fellas let my man Future Trunks down time and time again really gotta be studied. Had Trunks out here feeling like LeBron staring down J.R. Smith in the 2018 finals. Zero words for that level of disappointment. Before we get all the way off this though, shout outs again to Seth who pointed out just how bad 18 was lacking in this situation too. Multiple times and by multiple characters was she told to get the hell out of Dodge while all this nonsense was taking place. But not 18, she set that forehead and them size 6 Wranglers right up in Wasteland 3 and nearly helped the Earth bite the big one off the back of it for zero reason. Next up, we're gonna shake it up with a villain botch this time and send some heat Cell's way for even starting the Cell games. At this point, Buddy knew nobody on the planet Earth was seeing him for real. But instead of just body bagging that big blue rock, man decided he was going to turn this nonsense into Tekken and hold a tournament strictly to flex, which ended up being the worst thing he could have possibly done. Because we all know the last thing you want to do is enter a flexing contest with anybody on the Z Squad. You know that man's Frieza and Saiyan genetics were working overtime to have him come up with some mess like that. So I guess I can't even hold it against him for real, because we know if there's one thing Saiyan genetics are going to make you do, is throw a guaranteed layup. Next up, as foul as it is hilarious, is his Bulma and Dr. Breeze removing 16's bomb when they had him in for repairs with no type of warning. They saw 16 was poised to run that marrow in from Hunter x Hunter protocol and took that thing out of him with a quickness. Only problem is, 16 ain't know all that. So when Mans was prepared to get his rocks off with his heroic sacrifice, the only thing he could do was stand there looking crazy while Cell started rotating his tires because nobody told him his master plan got derailed 20 episodes ago. Next up, we got the Senzu known across the world. That's right, homies, the infamous Goku giving Cell a beating gambit. Bro, like, what were we actually doing right here? Y'all can try to tell me all you want about this being in line with Goku's chivalrous nature, but this move is wild negligent, even for him. I'm not saying he's wrong for giving his son a chance, but the Zenkai the villain yourself strictly because you want to see the man who is trying to put your son in a blender and get back shots to the entire planet is beyond me, bro. I know by that point he put up a crazy parlay on the Son Gohan game winner, but a fumble is a fumble, and right now, Goku, my boy, you're looking like your name might be Kirk Cousins. And of course, you got my GOAT, Son Gohan, who got high off them Saiyan genetics and let himself break the guaranteed layup that was the perfect Cell finish. Now, throwing the bag away to not finish perfect Cell is the obvious thing, but the other thing, Gohan, that makes me extra mad at this part is the fact that it took him seeing 16 get squished in order to achieve that Super Saiyan 2 transformation and not watching his dad and the rest of his family getting dog-walked by the Cell Juniors that entire time. What do you mean it was watching David Hasselhoff catch that American History X treatment that finally got him to wake up and not watching his pops, his stepdad, and all of his loved ones get that green lantern treatment in the middle of the wasteland that made him decide now's the time to party. Come on, man. What do you mean we had no tears for the rest of the gang? That wasn't enough? Son, go on, bro. Your man really had that dog in him. And here, homies, is a list of fattest bag fumbles taking place in the Android and Cell saga. If you have any I think I missed, please be sure to put them in the comments below. And let me know if there are any other DBZ related topics you want to see me hit up on the channel. Be easy, y'all, and catch you again in the next video.